Hey, what is up, guys? This is Jay Smith Gaming, and I just want to come up with you guys with a quick Town Hall 7 farming strategy. And with the first strategy I really want to show you guys is really just Barch. And this is a really cost-effective strategy, and it's a great way to turn a low-cost troop and army composition to a massive farming strategy. So this is just the first base that I'm going to show you guys, and this is, as you can see, it's kind of a dead base by the gravestones, and as well as if you look inside of the gold storages and the elixir storages, you can see that there's really nothing in there. So as you can see what I'm doing, I'm kind of sniping the dark elixir, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle the base with my troops, and that's really just how Barch works, guys. Barch bases are really vulnerable, and the bases that you really want to look for is when they're kind of dead, and a lot of their uh, gold collectors and elixir collectors are outside the base. And the reason being is because those are prime bases, especially if they're dead, and they hold all of their loot inside of those collectors. And so what I did with this one, and what I like to bring on my Barch attacks is really like some clan castle troops of really either giants or wizards, and the reason being is because high level wizards that you can get from your clan mates can really make a big difference and actually help you get all that extra loot and make all that difference in really just determining on how successful your farming raid was. So as you can see, this is a pretty quick pickup here, nothing too crazy, and especially in this Silver League, there's a ton of low-level bases that are dead that are just waiting for you to hit them, and it's a great trophy level to be at for you to be farming. So let me go ahead and go into the next video. So here we go, and what I'm going to show you next is Mondo. So as you can see, it's another pretty dead base, as you can tell by the gravestones. And what I did here is I used my king, my barbarian king, on the other king just so that my troops don't get distracted, and I can just farm the outside of the base with this Barch composition. And this is just a great way to flip uh, a low-level army composition into huge profits. Obviously, it's not really a 3-star strategy, but it's just a great way for you to just really just farm up really fast, because this army composition doesn't take a lot of time to build. So as you can see, I've already got 54% and a huge amount of loot, and I really didn't even enter the base, guys. So it's just a great way, as I said before, to just farm up. So one of the key things that I think you really should consider when you're farming is you really want to know what you're really farming for. And in this case, I was really farming for gold and elixir, and Barch works great for getting that golden elixir, but when it comes to getting on the inside of the base and like getting that dark elixir, because dark elixir is typically stored inside of the base, a little bit deeper inside rather than the gold and the elixir collectors, which are typically on the outside, you might want to bring a heavier composition. And so this next video that I'll show you after this current raid is just a great heavier composition that can help you get into the inside of that base and help you get that Barbarian King leveled up and just really get those Dark Elixir profits coming in. So as you can see, kind of following a similar trend, as you can see, the collectors are pretty exposed, so it's just a great way to overwhelm the enemy. And that's why this strategy works, is because at this level, it's really hard for bases to cope with mass amounts of troops because there's just simply not enough defenses to really cope with it. So Barge is a really good way to get a lot of raids off in a quick amount of time and really just flip those bases easily. So what I'm going to show you next is a video on a heavier composition here. And so with this composition, I really like to go with a heavier layout. As you can see, the giants and the wizards, and because I'm really going for Dark Elixir here. And so obviously this base didn't have the deepest Dark Elixir placement, and actually a lot of its storages were outside. So it's pretty poorly designed, but there's a ton of these in this Silver League level, especially as a Town Hall 7. So as you can see, um, really just picking off some of the outside buildings with some of my archers, and then I'm going to proceed to go in with my troops in just a few seconds. So as you can see, entering through the top right, and with that, I'm going to drop a couple wall breakers, and then I enter in the clan castle troops from behind as well very shortly. Oops. And so I'm really just funneling in here with the wizards and really just going all in on this right side. So sadly, my troops did actually go outside, but that's not really a problem here in the fact that I'm really just going for that Dark Elixir, and that's what I'm getting right now. I'm getting a ton of Dark Elixir, and although this necessarily wasn't the prettiest raid, because at the time of this recording, this was actually a composition I was trying out on this account, and it actually ended up working really well, so that's why I wanted to share it with you guys. So as you can see, gonna have the troops enter into the middle shortly, but they're getting kind of melted away. And I don't know if you've noticed, but in most of these replays I've showed you, I haven't been using spells, and the reason being is because during the time of this recording, my spell factory was down. So I'm actually able to pull off these Barch and Giant attacks for these massive amounts of loot for really little to no spells, because this is the last attack I actually had spells. And as you can see, pretty good pull for a Town Hall 7 of 1,000. Obviously, it's not the easiest to pull off massive raids as a Town Hall 7 in regards to Dark Elixir, but 1,000 as a Town Hall 7 is a lot. So let me go ahead and look for a Barch base online so I can try to get one live. I actually don't have spells nor my Barbarian King for this raid, so hopefully we can find something pretty good. So this is a pretty fat base, but I really just don't have spells or really anything to help me get on the inside and just really accomplish that base. So I'm just looking, and we'll see what we can find here. Usually you don't have to look for very long, and you can find some bases with some pretty massive amounts of loot. So like this is a pretty prime base in the fact that, as you can see, one of the mortars is actually undergoing right now, and the other one is really exposed. So this actually isn't a bad one. Just to pick up a quick, pretty quick 300k overall. So that's what I'm gonna do. Is I'm just gonna take this out, and because that's exposed, I'm just gonna put a couple barbs on that, and then what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna go across with the barbarians, and then I'm gonna outside the circle with the archer. So it's a pretty simple, you really drag my drag my fingers across the screen, and as you can see, I'm actually going to be able to pull off a decent amount of loot here. I honestly might even be able to 3-star. I'm just going to put my wizards down just for the heck of it. So as you can see, this isn't necessarily a 3-star strategy, but you can 3-star occasionally. Obviously, this was a pretty poorly designed base, but just a pretty quick, easy 3-star, and I'm not really complaining. And that's the thing with this strategy, is you're really not going to 3-star all the time, but when you do, it is a pretty satisfying feeling. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you learned something, and please be sure to check out some of my other videos. Look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Thanks.